G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn of the Barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by user WhiskeyGinger99, titled, My 24 female, boyfriend, 24 male, of 4 years, has been cheating for 6 months. Basically what the title says. I woke up yesterday to a text from the other woman. She found my Facebook, telling me everything. She didn't even know I existed, but as soon as she learned he had a girlfriend, she came right to me. I was just frickin' sick. I kept telling myself this couldn't be real, that my baby wouldn't do this to me, that he loves me. But it was all true. She showed me the evidence, and when I confronted him, he didn't even try to deny it. He just made some lame-ass excuses like, I was depressed, and we had common interests. This piece of shit laid in bed next to me every night, reassuring me that I was loved and he wouldn't ever hurt me. I've been so insecure for weeks now that something was gonna happen, that things in my life never stay good this long. Well, I was sure as shit right. He was doing us both in the same day just to try to keep up his lies. Now both the other woman and I have to get STD tests because I don't believe him when he says that we were the only ones. I don't know how to move on from this. I kicked him out, and I won't be taking him back. But how do I ever learn to trust again? He was my entire world. Every aspect of my life is tainted by his memory. If someone who had dedicated himself to me for so long would do this, then how can I trust someone I just met? I don't even have many guy friends because he was too insecure. I had to be ultra modest and couldn't really hang out with guys. I don't even like the way I look anymore because all I see is how the other woman is prettier, skinnier, has a flat belly. I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point. In the comments, All Out of F says, I'm sorry that happened to you. That really sucks. For the time being, just focus on yourself. Give yourself some self-care. First thing is go ahead and scream, cry, whatever you feel you need to do, and then block him. Clean out the house and toss anything that belongs to him. If you want him to pick anything up, put it out on the porch so you won't have to deal with him again. If you have mementos to keep, put them in a box and put the box in a closet somewhere so you don't have to see those things every day. Paint, organize, redecorate, make your place all your own. Breaking up with someone, especially long-term, is a great time to do this. You don't have to compromise on anything and only have to please yourself. Spend time with friends and family. Pick up a new hobby or return to an old one. Get a new haircut, take a class, volunteer somewhere. Stay busy. But don't forget to have some downtime so you can rest. You're going to be okay. And OP replies, Thank you. This is really helpful advice. And now, onto the update. First of all, I just want to say thank you for all the love and support that I received in the comments. All the amazing comments really helped me with knowing that I made the right choice. It's been a little over a week now since I kicked him out, and I have some new updates. My ex and his mother came to pick up his stuff the day after while I was with my own mum. I still feel awful that his mum had to spend Mother's Day moving all his crap out of my house. Since then, all communication has been going through her. She's come over a few times to grab things that he left, and we've had a good time just talking. We were always close, and she is 100% on my side in this. Honestly, I think she's angrier at her son than I am. As for me, well, I'm doing really good. I just got a new job today, and I start on Thursday. Fingers crossed I'll be able to be completely independent of him in the next month. I've been slowly cleaning the house after he left it a disaster. His old office was the absolute worst. He just left piles of trash in the corner for me to deal with. I feel like I owe my trash guys some cookies or something for the amount of crap that they hold away. But the biggest update of all is that I've started seeing someone new. My new boyfriend is so amazing. I can't believe he's real sometimes. We've been friends for almost a year now, and he's been my biggest supporter through my breakup. There was some mutual attraction, but we kept our distance due to me being in a relationship. I didn't even intend to start dating again so soon, but I just fell head over heels for him. We're taking things slow right now. I still need to heal, and he's perfectly fine with that. Although, to be honest, it feels like the best revenge to be seeing a new guy who treats me like an absolute princess while still having my ex pay my bills. I realized just now how abusive my ex was. I always told myself that because he never hit me and supported me through my mental health struggles, that he couldn't be abusive. But the more distance I get, the more I wipe every trace of him from my home, the more I realize how much I lived in fear of him. I lied so much to the people I loved just so that no one knew who he really was. If he was in a bad mood, he would just pick at me to try and hurt me. I was his bang maid and nothing else. He spent all his time away from me locked in his office, and I'm not the only one he treated badly. The changes in my dog are absolutely insane. It's like he's a new animal. I worry now what was really going on when I wasn't around. I never knew my dog was so playful. I always assumed he was just lazy. Turns out he loves to play and bark and just be a dog without a grown man screaming at him. So yeah, life is going well. I go to get the STD test done in an hour and a half, so I'll make a small update on this post when I get the results. Edit. So I'm seeing a lot of people accusing me of having an emotional affair in the comments, which I totally understand given the information that I provided. Firstly, he lives 11 hours away and we have never even met in person. When I say we had a thing for each other, I don't mean we had feelings for each other or even a crush. We both thought the other was good looking but drew a hard line when it came to flirting or anything like that. If we hung out in a voice channel, it was only in a group, and our DMs were exclusively asking if the other was joining the group for games. Something I still do with my other friends. I was admittedly checked out of my relationship for a while, but that was after the cheating started and he became distant. I worked a lot and really didn't do much else aside from play games online with friends like once a week. I totally understand if people still feel like I had an emotional affair. I just wanted to add some more context. Figured an edit would be easier than replying to individual comments. Edit 2. Okay, I am sick of explaining this over and over again. Whether you think I had an emotional affair or not is whatever, but I was not checked out of my relationship. I was actively trying to fix things with my now ex up until the moment that I learned he screwed another woman. Do not try to sit here and tell me that my choice to start dating my friend is equal to the constant lies and gaslighting that my ex put me through. This man sat there and held me while I cried about how scared I was to lose him. He told me over and over that he loved me, that I was just paranoid, that he would never cheat on me. He cared more about getting laid, and mind you, we had a very active sex life, than he did about being faithful to someone he made a commitment to. How can you even think that me finding my friend's voice attractive, a friend, mind you, that I was never even alone with, is just as bad or the reason he cheated? True emotional affairs are awful. They are just as painful as cheating. I made sure every step of the way that I never crossed that line. I was respectful, I was loyal, and I never said anything that could even be registered as flirting until after my ex and I broke up. My ex was a horrible, abusive piece of shit. There are holes in the walls of my home because of him. I get scared anytime my dog bothers someone to play with him because I'm worried my pup is going to get yelled at. I spent 4 years on eggshells because of him. Don't effing pity him or tell me that his cheating and abuse is my fault. I met my now boyfriend in August of 2022. I had been with my ex since December of 2018, so please, keep telling me that his behavior was because of some so-called emotional affair. In the comments, every guard says, "Glad you're doing well. And even though you said you're going to take it slow, I hope that you do take some time for yourself before fully jumping into this new relationship. Starting a new relationship just after a long-term one ended so terribly can be sensitive to everyone. Oftentimes, individuals will miss or ignore potential red flags due to this, so best to play it safe. I said the same. Talking from experience, don't do it. It's better to resolve your issue than to jump that step so soon. Heal first, date second. Whether she had an emotional affair or not is irrelevant. I'm worried that she seems to place so much of her self-worth on her relationships and the men that she dates though. Less than 2 weeks after the man that was her world broke her heart, she's already waxing poetic about how this new guy is so amazing and so perfect and treats her so well. I don't want to be the common Reddit downer that says this is a mistake or this won't end well, but at the very least I think she needs therapy. This is all just sad. Agreed. After 4 years, she moved on in 2 weeks. She needs therapy and needs to learn how to be by herself. So many people are afraid to be by themselves that they just move on from one person to the next in an instant. I think she'll realize she's trying to cover up her pain with a new relationship, but that's not how it works. At least the other guy lives far away, so I can't imagine they have serious plans for the future already. I think the distance makes it worse. Easier for her to create an idealized version of him in her head. Easier for him to lie to her if he is so inclined. Everyone worried about her emotionally cheating, and I'm here like, girl, you're calling someone a boyfriend only 9 days after breaking up? It's like the dude was suddenly there and made himself available, and she jumped on it. This screams someone who can't be alone, and it's a bit worrying, especially if her ex was abusive. Hope she gets some therapy. Right? 90% of these relationship advice posts, I'm like, girl, I'm begging you to please be single and focus on yourself for a year or two. Thanks, It's a Disorder says, my ex-husband reached out to me because he is divorcing his second wife. I was so bummed for him when I found out she made him stop talking to me because she thought that we were having an affair. Like, I'm divorced from him. I love him because he's my high school BFF and we wanted different things. He wanted a family and I realized I didn't want kids. Anyway, back to the point. He asked me if he should be getting back out there and I was like, dude, finish your divorce and then wait a bit and try to date. He catches feelings so fast and can't do casual sex. I told him he needed to date someone for a minimum of 3 years before marrying them. We were high school besties and dated for 6 months before getting married at 22. We divorced at 24. He remarried at 26 after dating her for 1 year. I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years and don't even want to be engaged. I get your point, but giving numbers like 3 years or using your own personal view on how long it takes before someone should be ready doesn't sound very helpful, to be honest. I'd talk to him more about the issues leading him to jumping into a marriage/serious relationship rather than giving some arbitrary number on how long it should take. I read an article that said the honeymoon phase of a relationship usually lasts about 2 years, and then you enter into the next stage of the relationship. Can't remember the name of the stage, and that's when the relationship is usually put to the test because you aren't getting butterflies every time you think of them anymore, and they're not necessarily the very first thing you think of when you wake up or the last thing you think of while falling asleep, and to not get married until you're out of the honeymoon phase. I do think people should date longer before proposing and getting married. I know there's the couples out there that dated for 2 to 3 months and then got married, and they're still together to this day, so of course there's a story for every example. I guess I view it as, what's the rush? If you're planning on spending the rest of your life together, why not wait an extra 1 to 2 years before proposing? Honestly, I really like that advice. I feel like there is no rush. And I also do feel like OP was having an emotional affair. I love beating this dead horse. As much as she's trying to beat the charges, I feel like the evidence against her is too much. She's talked herself into a hole. I think that is a perfect example of why people lie, or they spin stories to be as favorable to them as possible. Her being transparent in this situation only led me to thinking that, oh my god, yes, he sucks for cheating on her, but it does sound like she was emotionally cheating on him at the same time. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What are yours, guys? I'd love to know down in the comments below. Our next post is by user OKFirefighter602, titled, Am I the asshole for breaking a promise and attending my stepdaughter's graduation? I'll start by explaining some backstory. I, 54 male, lost my first wife when my son, 25 male, and daughter, 22 female, were 9 and 12. Both my kids took it as hard as you would expect, and to this day have a poor relationship with both my current wife, Doreen, and my stepdaughter, Amy, 18 female. I started dating Doreen about 4 months after my first wife passed. As such, my kids believe I cheated on their mum. Amy was 5 when we got together, and as such, I see her as my own daughter. On to the actual story. 4 years ago, 2 days before Kay's high school graduation, Amy got very ill while visiting her grandparents and ended up needing emergency surgery. My wife and I rushed to be with Amy, and admittedly, I did not communicate very well with Kay. At the time, Kay didn't pick up my calls, so I left her a voicemail and several text messages explaining what happened and telling Kay I was sorry, but I would make it up to her. A few hours go by and I get a call from Kay. She is in hysterics, telling me what a terrible father I am, and stated that if I did not attend her graduation, I would be dead to her. I chose to support Amy. True to her words, Kay did not contact me on the day of her graduation, and when I came home, Kay's things had been moved out of the house with a note explaining that we were no longer family and to never contact her again. Luckily, Kay and I were able to reconcile. However, I promised her I would give her absolutely anything in the world to make her forgive me. She said that she would forgive me as long as I refused to attend Amy's graduation, as this was the only way to make it fair. I agreed at the time, thinking she was just joking or angry and would soon forget. This leads me to now. Invitations for Amy's graduation went out, and despite all the hostility, Amy wanted to make sure Kay got one. Kay called Amy later that day and said she would be unable to attend as she and I would be spending the day together per our agreement. Amy broke down into tears, asking me why I was missing her graduation, and I assured her that I was not and that I would speak to Kay. Later, I explained to Kay that I simply could not miss Amy's graduation. Kay launched into a tirade about how I was a liar and an asshole, and how could I do this to her again? I told her that we would talk when she calmed down, and she said we would never talk again. My son and several of our extended family have all taken Kay's side, saying I didn't see how hurt she was at graduation. My wife believes that I'm the asshole for even promising that in the first place, as I should have known that it would only upset one or both girls. And Amy is just sad and confused, wondering why Kay hates her. I know keeping my promise and not attending Amy's graduation is probably the only way to salvage my relationship with Kay, but no matter how I look at it, I would feel like I'm punishing Amy for having a medical issue. So am I the asshole? Edit to add some relevant info. I never cheated on my first wife. Your accusations are honestly tiring and disgusting. Amy's bio father was never in her life. I am not Amy's biological father. That wasn't ever even in question, as we are not the same race. Amy had appendicitis. She was staying over 4 hours away at her grandparents' house. At the time, we left the only info Dorian's mother would give us, as she passed out and wouldn't wake up. My daughter was moved out of our house for about a month and a half, after which we made up, and she returned to live with us for another 2 years before going away to school. I did not believe Kay when she said she wanted me to miss Amy's graduation, as it seemed like a ridiculous request. Despite what you all may believe, our relationship was fine after this event. We were in near daily contact, and she would frequently visit us. Honestly, OP, you're the asshole for this one, and you should feel bad for even making that promise in the first place. All you did was kick the can down the road. That's all you did. You know Kay. You know how much hurt she was in. Why wouldn't you believe her when she said that? She was being genuine in her request, and you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna lie to your face. It is so obvious you prefer Amy over Kay, yet you still want Kay to be in your life as you continue to beat her down and lie to her face. I'll be frank, you don't deserve to have Kay in your life if this is how you continue to treat her. If you really believed it was a joke, you would have said that when Kay asked you to skip Amy's graduation, except you didn't. And why didn't you ask her? Is it maybe because you knew she was being serious about it? You knew that if you said no to her, that she would cut you out of her life. Well, guess what? You're trying to have your cake and eat it too, and it's not working out for you, OP. You're going to be an asshole no matter what you do. You're the asshole. In the comments, Angry Trans says, "You're the asshole and have been for years. You are a bad father. Kay is correct. You're a liar. You have done nothing to prioritize Kay ever since your new family rolled in. Your relationship with your daughter is dead, and the blood is on your hands." Seriously though, you never should have promised Kay that, knowing full well that you had no intention of keeping your word. And now you're being a bad father to Amy too, by trying to use her tears and guilt to dig yourself out of the grave that you dug yourself with Kay. Seems like all OP cared about was getting his way in the moment. Seems like that may be a pattern. All OP cares about is getting his dick wet 4 months after his wife died. No concern for his kids at all. I stopped reading at that part. Don't need to know the details of this carnage. You're the asshole. You replaced your kid's mum with a new family 4 months after she died. Your kids lost their mum so young, and you don't seem like you prioritized their feelings or helped them deal with things. Instead, you moved on fast. Kay didn't have a mother to attend her graduation, and she needed you there. Could you not have driven to the graduation, then back to the hospital? I call BS on him not cheating. I don't, but mostly because I've seen, and been propositioned by, more than enough guys who were so completely allergic to the idea of being an actual parent to their kids that they legitimately convinced themselves that it was doing right by the kids to rush into a second marriage. And considering the level of parenting horribleness that we're looking at here, Opie is just as likely one of those dudes as a cheater. Absolutely. I saw this couple online who posted a video about the husband's late wife who died during birth. Less than a year after, the father marries his babysitter. In the video, the new wife says something like, "That's my baby in there, but that's not me," with a picture of the late wife pregnant. She was talking about her like she was their surrogate or something. So definitely some people just look for a replacement parent right away. And now, onto the update. I wasn't sure if I wanted to post an update after the reaction I got last time. I can stomach death threats against myself, but directing such hatred towards my children was truly disgusting. But the graduation has come and gone, and I thought I should share how it all went down. I'm sure most of you will be displeased. Amy was mad at me for a few days, but we have a strong bond and she quickly got over it. The saint that she is said that she would understand if I wanted to miss it to make it up to Kay. I told her I wouldn't do that to her and reassured her that she has done nothing wrong. As for the elephant in the room, Kay, she and my son live in the same city and work in the same field, so they're as close as ever. My son and his partner were giving her a lot of emotional support at this time. In the end, she decided not to attend Amy's graduation, but sent flowers and a card with my son. There were a lot of nasty messages directed towards her, which I feel is completely unacceptable. She isn't mean or vindictive, she is a smart, very kind, very empathetic woman. She made a bizarre ultimatum as a confused and hurt teenager. I certainly don't think that makes her a bad person. I know all of you seem to think that I hate my children, but the amount of pain I feel at the deterioration of my relationship with my daughter is unexplainable. I've been on and off antidepressants since the death of my wife, and at my therapist's suggestion, will be going back on them. It's taking all of my willpower not to reach out to her again, but I've already disrespected her wishes enough. She can choose to reach out to me when and if she ever wants to again, and I'll be waiting. I know it's not the most impactful update, and I'm sure most of you wanted to see me left miserable and alone, but I don't live my life for anyone else's entertainment. I can accept that I'm the asshole. Maybe I'm an asshole in general, but I'm not some evil monster that you all want me to be. I'm a man that made the mistake of sharing his problems with the internet, a mistake I won't be making again. I probably won't delete this account, but I'm not going to be updating in the future. Goodbye. Opie, no one thinks that you're living life for anyone else's entertainment. Everyone thinks you're just a bad person. As much as you like to say you're not an evil monster, you're being one in this situation. You absolutely are being one. Now that you've said all of this, I hope for Kay's peace of mind and overall sanity that she never reaches out to you ever again. And no, you haven't made a mistake by posting this on the internet. You've just been outed for the terrible person that you are. And instead of doing the right thing, you're going to shut everyone out and be like, you know what? I don't like criticism. I can't handle it. Anyway, in the comments, Yogurt Closet Weird 789 says, "Look, OP, I get that you're human, just a man. But you can't get away with the I made mistakes because you made the same ones over and over again. I don't understand trolls and stupid people with the death threats or nasty messages about your kids. That's wrong and disgusting. The only issue I have here is you. The fact that you claim to love Kay and how it's breaking your heart that she wants nothing to do with you is your own fault. Every mistake you made and repeated always seems to be against her. I don't actually think you care about Kay all that much, as you still have Amy. Now you've decided, oh well, I've effed up again and made so many mistakes, I'll just leave her alone and not confront the fact that you failed her as a supportive father. Own it. Change your damn ways. Believe me, you're not the worst dad out there, but you are a shitty one to Kay. When will you wake up and realize without the self-pity that you have to be the one to make amends? Why on earth should she contact you? Do you not care that one day she'll get married and you won't be invited to the wedding or even walk her down the aisle? When she has her first child and you find out through the grapevine instead of being a grandpa? Maybe one day she will forgive you, but not if your solution is just to give her space. Seems to me that she had a lot of space from you already. All she wants was your time and sole attention for a bit, and you've never been able to give her that. I feel for both your son and daughter because it seems you have a favorite and you don't care as long as Amy is okay. Let me guess and say your wife thinks it's best to give her the space. Amy may be a nice girl, but I bet your wife has encouraged your behavior. It's honestly sad. And OP replies, I'm giving Kay space because that's what she said she wants. I can't do anything other than that. No matter what, I'm still going to be there for her any way I can. But for the time being, I'm not going to pester her or beg for her forgiveness because that's not what she wants. I have made mistakes, and at the top of that list is not listening to my children when they tell me exactly what they need from me. Lol, you can't give someone space when they have chosen to go low or no contact, dude. You need to accept the fact that Kay is no longer a part of your life. You traded her for Saint Amy, remember? At best, you can hope Kay will let you follow her on social media so you can watch her life from afar and know it's your own fault you are not a part of it. Try not to be too surprised when she gets married without you walking her down the aisle or even inviting you. Why would she bother when she'd just be disappointed again? Who knows? Amy might have a toothache that day. But hey, at least you have your deceased wife's best friend and her kid to replace the ones you lost, right? Because I doubt your son is going to be around much either. I have a feeling these are only 2 incidents of many that Kay feels second best to. Her attempting going no contact after the graduation thing tells me that he had done other things to her. Most people don't go no contact from a single event. What he did was disrespectful, but if they had a good relationship before that, they probably could have worked it out over time without Kay making such an ultimatum. The fact she was so quick to say nah, screw it, I'm out, even if they did make up later, is pretty telling. Got a real missing reasons vibes going on here. Yep, missing indeed. You know there's something squirrely going on in the house when your stepsister is in the hospital and your response is to throw a tantrum because you're not getting Dad's attention on your big day. Bet you anything Dad and Doreen set up Amy to be the golden child in that house, and the 2 OG kids were marginalized right from the get-go. Kay still had hope her dad was going to love her and actually show it. I bet the son saw the writing on the wall and pieced the F out. Now he's broken the relationship irreparably. It's okay though, he still has Saint Amy. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.